Have you ever sat in silence and wondered, why am I feeling this way? You've got a lot to be thankful for. A roof over your head, perhaps a job, family, friends, even your health. And yet, sometimes it just doesn't feel enough. You feel disconnected from it all. You look in the mirror and you wonder, how can I face the world when I can't even face myself? You're not alone. I've been there. In fact, almost everyone you admire has been there too. We all have moments when we can't quite understand who we are, what we want, or where we're going. And the more we try to fight these feelings, the more it seems like we're losing control. But what if I told you that acceptance is the key? That it's not about giving up, but about shifting your perspective, allowing yourself to grow, to improve, and to truly learn who you are? The first thing we need to address is this idea of acceptance. A lot of people hear the word acceptance and think it means resignation. They think it's synonymous with giving up. But in reality, acceptance is the opposite of defeat. It's the first step in evolution, in progress. Let me break it down. When we resist our current situation, whether it's our emotions, circumstances, or even our sense of self, we build up internal friction. We're fighting reality, and that fight drains us. It's exhausting. Think about it. How often do you find yourself ruminating over things you wish you could change? Maybe you wish you were more confident, more disciplined. Maybe you wish you didn't feel so lost or overwhelmed. But here's the truth. That resistance doesn't change anything. It just keeps you stuck in the same loop. You can't change what you don't accept. So what does it mean to truly accept? It's not about being passive. It's about recognizing the present moment without judgment. It's about saying, this is where I am right now, and that's okay. Acceptance opens the door to self-awareness, and self-awareness is where growth begins. Now let's dive into something that a lot of us struggle with: demotivation and that deep sense of confusion about ourselves. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just get it together? Why am I constantly battling my own mind? These thoughts aren't foreign to most of us. But here's the thing. Demotivation isn't a lack of desire, and confusion isn't a lack of clarity. They're signals. These feelings are telling you something important, but instead of listening, we often try to shut them down. We distract ourselves with work, social media, or even worse, we berate ourselves for feeling this way. Think of your demotivation like a notification on your phone. You wouldn't get mad at your phone for telling you the battery's low, right? That notification is important. It's letting you know something needs attention. The same goes for your feelings. Demotivation is often the result of a mismatch between what you're doing and what's truly important to you. If your actions don't align with your values, your mind and body respond with a sense of fatigue and resistance. Confusion, on the other hand, is your mind's way of signaling that it needs more information or a new perspective. Here's where things get really important. Before you can tackle any external challenge in life, you need to start by accepting yourself. That means accepting both your strengths and your flaws, your triumphs and your mistakes. Because how can you expect to face the world when you can't even face who you are? But self-acceptance isn't always easy. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need to be better. Social media bombards us with images of perfect lives, perfect bodies, perfect careers. It's hard not to feel like we're falling short in comparison. But that's the trap. We're comparing ourselves to a highlight reel, not reality. Everyone has insecurities. Everyone has struggles. And accepting yourself means letting go of the idea that you need to be perfect. Instead, focus on being real. Self-acceptance doesn't mean you don't want to improve. It means you recognize that you're a work in progress. And that's a beautiful thing. Once you accept yourself, you unlock the power to make authentic changes because you're not driven by shame or guilt, but by love and understanding. Okay, so we've talked a lot about acceptance. But how do you actually do it? How do you start facing yourself when it feels so overwhelming? Here are some practical strategies that have helped me and countless others. Journaling. Unraveling your inner world. Journaling is one of the simplest yet most profound tools for self-awareness. When you write, you get out of your head and onto paper. You can start by asking yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Sometimes, just writing it down makes it easier to understand. Mindfulness. Being present without judgment. Mindfulness is about paying attention to the present moment without trying to change it. You can practice this through meditation or even in daily activities. Notice your thoughts and feelings without labeling them as good or bad. Just let them be. This practice builds acceptance because you're not resisting what is. Set small, intentional goals. Build confidence over time. A lot of people get demotivated because they set massive, unrealistic goals that feel impossible to achieve. Start small. Set tiny, intentional goals that align with your values. When you start achieving those, even if they seem insignificant at first, you'll build momentum. Confidence grows from action. Surround yourself with the right people. The people around you play a huge role in your self-acceptance. If you're surrounded by negative, judgmental people, it's hard to thrive. Seek out those who support your growth, who accept you for who you are, and who challenge you to become better in a healthy way. Therapy and professional help. A resource, not a weakness. Don't underestimate the power of professional help. Therapy can be life-changing. It's not about being broken. It's about gaining tools and insights that can help you understand and navigate your emotions more effectively. There's no shame in seeking help. When you accept everything in this life, it doesn't mean you stop growing. In fact, it means the opposite. Acceptance is the soil in which growth takes root. It's about recognizing that you are enough as you are today, while also understanding that you have the potential to be more. And here's the beautiful part. Once you accept where you are, you become open to new possibilities. You stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities. You realize that every setback, every mistake is a chance to learn, to evolve. Growth isn't linear. There will be days when you feel like you're making huge strides, and then there will be days when you feel like you're stuck. But the key is to keep going, to keep accepting where you are at every stage of the journey. So, where does this leave you? You've taken the first step just by being here, by reflecting on these ideas. You've recognized that you don't have to be perfect, and that self-acceptance is not about complacency. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of resistance, from the pressure to always be more before you're even allowed to be content. The next step? Action. I challenge you to start small, but start today. Take 5 minutes to journal about how you're feeling right now. It doesn't have to be polished or make sense. Just get the thoughts out of your head and onto the page. Practice mindfulness for a few minutes each day. Take time to notice your thoughts without judgment. Set a tiny goal that aligns with your values, something achievable this week. And remember, growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. But the more you learn to accept where you are in each moment, the more you'll see opportunities for improvement, and the more you'll trust yourself to move forward, no matter what comes your way. And if you're still struggling, if you still feel lost or confused, that's okay too. This journey is not linear, but what you can't do is stop. Don't give up on yourself. You deserve the chance to find your way, and sometimes that means asking for help, whether it's from a friend, a family member, or a therapist. There is strength in reaching out. The world can feel overwhelming at times. We look outside, and we see so much to face: societal pressures, responsibilities, the weight of our expectations. And yet, the hardest thing we often face is ourselves. That's why self-acceptance is so vital. Because once you can look in the mirror and say, "This is who I am right now, and that's enough," you begin to unlock your potential. Life is full of change, full of ups and downs. But if you learn to accept the present, you'll realize you don't need to have everything figured out right away. There's time. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel like it. Remember, the journey to understanding yourself is not a race. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making small steps every day to align who you are with who you want to be. And as long as you keep moving, keep reflecting, keep accepting, you're growing. So here's my challenge for you right now. Accept where you are today. Take a breath and say to yourself, "This is me." And that's okay. You don't need to fix everything today, and you don't need to have all the answers right now. Start small. Start where you are. And if you're feeling stuck, confused, or demotivated, that's okay too. But don't give up on yourself. Leave a comment below and share what part of this resonated with you. What's the one thing you're going to focus on accepting today? Let's create a community of support right here. And if you found this video helpful, hit the subscribe button so we can keep this conversation going. Because trust me, there's so much more to explore on this journey of self-acceptance, growth, and facing the world together. Thanks for watching. Remember, accept everything in this life. Not because you're giving up, but because you're learning to grow.